I'm Amy from Be Well Clinic, and today is the first in our series of Degrees of Digestibility. If you missed the introduction video, you can go check it out. This is the first in our series, and what we're going to do is each week we're going to discuss a different aspect of food, a different category. For example, today's category is plant fiber. So we're going to discuss how plant fiber is digested in the body, what makes it difficult to digest, what things we need, what things are missing when it's not working, and ways that we can make that food more digestible even before we put it in our mouth. I decided to start the series with plant fiber, and this is actually one of the most controversial food groups that we're going to talk about on this channel, probably. So I want to look at plant fiber. Fiber is so hot right now, right? Everyone in the nutritional world is talking about more beans, more chickpeas, how much fiber do you need? And there's a couple side notes I want to discuss really quick about why I think fiber is really popular and why I don't think fiber should be as popular as it is. Number one, fiber helps slow blood sugar. Sure it does, but animal fat does it better. One of the things we need to remember when we're eating traditionally, instead of looking at information published by a modern medical world or a low-fat diet thought, is that fat is never going to be the answer. It was protein first, and now it's plant fiber. And fiber is the thing that's going to save us from blood sugar. But it's not true. It does help a little bit. Of course it does. But animal fat is going to be the best way for us to manage blood sugar. Not only is animal fat going to slow the spike in your blood sugar, but also it's going to make you more full. You are going to be satisfied and eat less food, less carbohydrates, processed food, and sugar, which is why your blood sugar is primarily spiking in the first place. So, with that note aside, let's talk about when we do want to eat plant fiber. So let's talk about digesting plant fiber. We have an omnivore's digestive system, which means we are designed to digest both animal and plant materials. How do we know that? Well, we can look at an herbivore. An herbivore who's designed to primarily eat plant materials has a very different digestive system than we do. A cow, for example, has 4 stomachs full of microbes and also chews the cud, meaning they are regurgitating and re-manipulating that plant fiber in their mouth over and over. Here is a true thing. The only thing that breaks down plant fiber is a microbe. The only thing that breaks down cellulose is microbes. We or a cow actually has no ability to break down plant material. Microbes are the only thing that can do that. So a cow who is eating primarily plant has all the microbes at the beginning of the digestive system and 4 stomachs to do the huge job of breaking down and getting nutrition from plants. Omnivores' digestive systems have the microbes at the end. If you look at a healthy human digestive system, most of our microbes are at the end. They are in the large intestine of our body. And so if it takes plant fiber all the way through the digestive system to get to the microbes, that is what shows us that plants are not our primary food source. That's not what we were designed to do. Now, we do have microbes through our whole system. It is beautiful to feed your microbes with plant fiber, especially when we have a very healthy and very strong microbiome. You keep it stronger by eating plant fiber. But if you are trying to get nutritional deficiency correction from plants, you aren't going to do it. It's not going to work because we do not have a digestive system designed for that. We have to have at least some amount of animal products. Now, some people's bodies do much better with a higher amount of animal products and some people with a higher amount of plant material. That is totally fine. It is definitely a principle that we adhere to, that you want to listen to your body. But there's so much about our bodies being designed to eat plants, we only should eat plants, it's wrong to eat animals, that I don't agree with and our biology doesn't agree with. So I do want to bring that into the discussion here. Okay, so we want some amount of plant fiber. It's great for us. We want to help our microbiome get stronger. I will note that if you have an incredibly abnormal microbiome, increasing plant fiber or eating plant fiber will cause your microbiome to stay abnormal. This is a big problem with people who have candida yeast overgrowth. They are eating fiber, and that turns into sugar and cellulose, and both of those are just feeding microbiome that is actually already abnormal, and it's very, very difficult to change over your flora when you're eating a lot of plants. This is why GAPS diet actually emphasizes less plant material in general, so that you are, in essence, a little bit starving your microbiome, but we're then putting in lots of ferments and lots of microbiome feeding foods and situations so that we get good microbiome, and then we bring more raw plant fiber in after that later on in introduction diet, if you're familiar with the stages of GAPS. So let's talk about how we can digest plant fiber better. We do want plant fiber in limited amounts, and that's going to depend on the situation that you are in. Again, a very abnormal microbiome, less plant fiber. A good microbiome probably want a little more plant fiber. This is also something that is very seasonal. We want more fresh fruits and vegetables in the hot months than we do in the cool months. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And remember that you are not a cow. You are not doing the fermentation of that plant cellulose in the upper part of your digestive system. So, you may have guessed where this is going. The thing that you can do is ferment your vegetables. Fermenting vegetables and eating a large amount of your vegetables fermented is going to do a lot of breakdown. You kind of are doing a cow's stomach in a jar or a crock when you're fermenting those vegetables. So fermenting is one way we can make plant fiber more easy to digest in our bodies, and we can then get more nutrition and more benefit from that. The other way is to cook plants. Now, there is some benefit also to raw plant. Raw plant is very cleansing. It can be like little brooms that clean out things. There is a physicality of cleansing to fiber. And again, especially when we have a healthy system, raw plant fiber is cleansing and is good for us to do. But most of us can't tolerate very much, so fermenting and cooking. The best way to cook plants would be in meat stock or bone broth, or a good amount of animal fat. All of those things have properties that unlock the nutrition. Not only does cooking soften the vegetable, so think about a raw carrot versus a cooked carrot. That cooked carrot, the cell walls are already softened and broken down, and the nutrition around the cell wall is starting to be released. Double that with fermenting, and when we cook also with stock, broth, or fat, there are properties and cofactors in those three foods that are going to unlock and draw the nutrition out. Because our whole point of eating, besides some cleansing aspect, our whole point of eating is to get nutrition. And so we do want to increase the ways that we nutritionally eat food. All right, that's it for plant fiber. A brief overview, but hopefully gives you some ideas about why we recommend animal foods primarily. We recommend cooking plants or fermenting most of the vegetables that we eat, unless we're doing something cleansing on purpose, and why we have a different digestive system than an herbivore does. So hopefully that's helpful information for you. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe, send it to a friend, and the next video is going to be on digestibility of dairy. We're going to talk about which types of dairy and which preparations of dairy are easiest to digest, and maybe even if you are dairy intolerant, with the next video you might figure out some types of dairy you'll be able to tolerate, which gives us a boost in nutrition. So I will see you over in the next one.